Thank you, Mrs. John Baptist Aaron. To our Minister of Health is not present, but I want to say a special thank you for all the support. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, also the Director of our board, Mr. Leta, Chief Medical Officer, Acting Chief Environmental Health Officer, members of the public, both visible and in the invisible audience, my fellow heads of department, and in the Ministry of Health. Pleasant good morning, and again, thank you to the Prime Minister's press brief for giving us the opportunity to at least spend a few minutes with respect to waste management post-Hurricane Maria. Waste management basically is a result of two economic activities. One of the consumption of household commodities and that of manufacturing of goods by firms and industries. And as we saw on Monday, 18th September 2017, we saw an influx of waste throughout our island that would require a lot of help, not just from a solid waste management standpoint, but all other stakeholders. And in so doing, we saw the role of the Ministry of Public Works with the whole concept of removal of debris within the city. I mean, the role of the solid waste management entity basically is that for the removal of municipal solid waste, which is what our residential would put out. But when we saw the high level of silt, galvanized wood, it would command a greater level of cooperation between all the major stakeholders. And to that, I want to thank again the Ministry of Public Works, the Ministry of Tourism, the NEP for the role that they played in ensuring that the material that we saw in our streets within the city and throughout the island was managed in the best way possible. Due to the extent of devastation that we saw following the passage of Maria, our networks was severely impacted. And knowing that there is only one central landfill, we had to quickly decentralize our operation to allow for the material within our community to be dealt with in the most applicable or pristine way possible. Given the situation in the north, we had to reopen the Point Wrong landfill. Also, within the south, we had to use the Geneva area to receive material because of the impact to the road network. At those facilities at Point Wrong, I mean, seeing the level of impact and the amount of zinc that you had to dispose, we set up the area that we could receive zinc in a particular location, the MSW, which is your municipal solid waste, in a particular location, and the wood in another area. Again, the same operation at the Geneva area. You'd notice that we'd have galvanizing in an area, we'd have wood in another area, and also that of the MSW in another location, just to allow the general public to transport the material from their homes or from commercial entity to that particular location. Because of the road network, it was very difficult to truck material from one location to the next. From a solid waste management standpoint, as the Minister made mention, one of our many challenges is that of equipment. And what we did and what we've been doing prior or pre-Maria, we've been engaging a lot of private contractors in terms of bridging the gaps where waste management is concerned. And immediately after that, once the road networks in some of the rural areas was okay, we started engaging contractors to start hauling material from those different communities to the approved locations. And what we went also further as to not just having the locations, but having individuals to man the locations. Because, I mean, if you were to have an area in a particular community and there is no personnel, you'd have people dumping in an ad hoc way. One of the things that we've noticed in the cleanup operations, not just throughout the island, there are multiple players involved. And one of the things that we're asking the general public to do is to separate the waste or the material that they're putting out. We receive extensive damages to our homes. Many people will be removing or cleaning their homes. Separate your material. Place your wood together. Place your galvanized by itself, your MSW by itself. That would allow for the cleanup operation to be more speedily. It will be done in a more cordial manner. Imagine having a stockpile of material mix. I mean, you have different crews collecting different material. There is a crew collecting galvanized, there is a crew collecting wood, and then the soils management entity collecting your MSW. And one of the things that we've seen in many communities is a stockpile of all the material in one pile. So imagine soil waste coming in there, taking the plastics, then somebody has taken the wood, and that makes it a bit more challenging. So we want to appeal on the general public to ensure that they separate the material. Again, in separating material, it makes it easier to tip the material. But what we've noticed is that a lot of the vehicles who are carrying the material from one location to the next is tipper truck that are utilized. And we have seen instances where the material would come to a particular location, but because it is mixed, the individual who load that material have to physically remove the galvanized, put it down, then put the wood in another area. And many times the people within the facilities, who are manning the facilities, or who are utilizing the facilities and manning the facilities, they would have some level of miscommunication as to what goes where. And that is why we're asking the public, if you separate the material, the whole process of trucking and disposing would be very easy. If you come to the Focally Sanitary landfill, we only receive MSW or white goods. We do not receive wood in that area. We do not receive galvanized in that area because the stock farm landfill, which was closed, was open to receive all your zinc material, all the material in terms of wood. Those areas was designated for this material. So again, in going forward, we really want to thank the general public for partnering with us. I mean, within the city, I mean, there are a few things that we've noticed within the city. And waste management is not the sole responsibility of the solid waste entity. As is enshrined in the Dominica Solid Waste Management Act, any commercial entity, based on the definition of the law, is responsible or mandated by law to dispose of the waste themselves. It is not the function of the Ministry of Tourism, it's not the primary function of the Ministry of Public Works or that of the corporation. I mean, given the devastation that we've seen after Maria, I mean, we really appreciated the individuals for cleaning and putting the material out initially for cleaning and storage and disposal. But as we have seen with Roseau and we've seen the improvement in terms of how clean the city is, we're expecting or we're calling on the commercial sector that if you're doing any further cleanup, that you should truck your material to the approved sites as opposed to having the material placed out on the curb or on the vacant lots in the city. I think that is something that we should discontinue with immediate effect. I mean, in the initial stages for the first 2 weeks, I mean, we tolerated it, we allowed it, because we saw the urgency to help. But I mean, the road network is good now. The city is a bit cleaner than what it was. I mean, there's a vast improvement, and we're calling on every single individual to play your role in ensuring that your environment is clean. I mean, we could go and speak on to all the sector-borne with former waste management and all those things. We don't want to go in those areas. But what we're saying there, the role is your role. It is your responsibility. It's my responsibility to ensure that my community is clean and that the nature isle is clean, green, and beautiful. The minister made mention of the government's intention. The Ministry of Finance, through a World Bank consultant team, prior to Hurricane Maria, that was probably since 2015, 2016, contracted a World Bank team to look at waste management and to see how we could revamp the whole waste management system in Dominica, seeing the many challenges that we've had. And as was seen in this year's budget, we saw additional finances was made available to the corporation in terms of subvention, and also that for capital investment, because the Ministry of Finance saw the need to improve on the current system of waste management on island. I'm just going to read a bit. I don't like to read from what I write, so forgive me. I always have my notes, but then I will just speak from what I know that is applicable or is being done. The plan basically with the World Bank was to basically increase the budget of the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation to ensure solvency, and in the meantime to fill the gaps into improving the present system of waste management on the island. And the proposed strategy would be to reestablish the service while building back smarter. And if you notice, in an island, 70,000 in terms of population, our waste stream is not significant. But given our road networks over the years, and we saw what happened in Tropical Storm Erica, and then we have Maria 2 years after, we have seen significant damages to our road network that affects waste management. And in looking and building back smarter, one of the things that we're looking at is the whole concept of decentralization. And in decentralizing, you would have cut down a lot of your maintenance costs in terms of hauling material from a particular location. Imagine hauling waste from Portsmouth to Fort Coley. If you were to have a transfer station in the north, or if you were to have a mobile waste-to-energy plant in the north end, that would allow for that material to be dealt with through incineration or through a transfer station. So in going forward, I mean, those are some of the recommendations that are on the table. I mean, the minister made mention of it in terms of outsourcing, in some of having formal contracts with private entities to engage the commercial entities to see how we could improve on waste management on the island. I think I will stop here, but I want to say again, special thanks to my staff for having worked under trial circumstances. I mean, we do not have any facilities at our landfill, and yet still our guys are out there working every single day. And primarily our collection system, we run basically mainly within the morning because of the lights in the communities. But also we run a nighttime shift within the city utilizing Bobcat to ensure some of the backlog in some of the communities are cleared. And I want to applaud my guys. It's not the best situation, but they're out there every single day trying to bring normalcy to the collection system. Again, in closing, we've been speaking a lot prior to Maria of the need for separation, and we want to again appeal to the general public. I mean, if you could separate your waste, we have a full-fledged equipment that is designated for the collection of recyclable material. It only collects glass, cans, and plastic. It does nothing else every day, Mondays to Fridays. That is an additional service that we offer to the general public, and we're asking the people to take advantage of that service. Separate your material. What we've seen, I mean, we have a lot of water in terms of relief, in terms of PET material. One of the issues that you would experience with PET is because of how bulky it is, you may not have a lot of storage area. But what we're saying, you could just take that bottle, I'm seeing one at the back, you just shrink it, twist it, it goes down to about half of the size. That would increase your storage. And again, yes, my good friend Dexter wants me to do a small demonstration. I mean, you just, this is PET. Once you twist it, you put back the cap, you reduce your volume significantly. And given the issue with our houses and no roofs, storage is an issue. Your cans, you could use a hammer, you could just pong it, make it smaller. I mean, you reduce the potential of it having water, all those things. Your compost material, your food peeling. I mean, dig a hole, bury those things. I mean, if we have children, elderly folks, I mean, we'll have those soil stuff. I mean, that will create a problem. And again, after the passage of Maria, we've had to reschedule our collection system, and we're asking the people to adhere to the collection system that is out for your community. I mean, some of the communities we had to rescale to once a week collection, and many of the communities, after we've cleaned, we've seen people put garbage out after the collection equipment has passed. I mean, we're saying, let us keep our nature island clean, let us help. We want to serve you. It is our responsibility to serve the public, but the public in itself has to ensure that they follow the procedures that is set out by the Waste Management Authority. Our number is 449-8168, 448-6839. My number is 616-8170. This phone is always on, it's always ringing. You could text me, you could WhatsApp me. Any concerns, any challenges, we are willing to serve you. Thank you very much.